And we are moving on to timeline 05 Fairlight rough cut. And you'll see there's some subtle changes. Our track colors are different. There's some effects added, and it looks like we've got some different markers to work with here. So we're moving on to the Fairlight page. You can always change your timeline view options. Right now, my timeline
in this film, making a documentary about
is locked, but my playhead is moving. If you want to go hardcore,
how the airplanes changed the world,
you can set it
really
so the timeline moves, but the playhead is locked. Do you want a scroller at the bottom where you can show different tracks? If so, you can set it there. Do you want it to show more than one track? Do you want it to show the video frame by frame? For now, I am going to just have that kind of video playback. I think that's kind of fun. And you can have your waveform view options set up here as well. Now, we're going to do some naming and color coding of our audio tracks. So first, I'm just going to make things a little bit larger, and I'll open things up a bit. Now, our first track, we could just click on the title here of the header, and we're going to call this sync. This is because this is our sync audio from the shoot. The second one will be our SFX1. And I can hit tab to kind of keep going down to each header title. This one will be SFX02. The next one, yes, the drum hits. And audio 5. Audio 5 is going to be our music. SFX01, we're going to right click on the track header, and we're going to change the color to lime to match SFX02. I'm going to go up to index to look at our spotting list. You can see you have 3 tabs here. Edit index shows us all our clips. This is our tracks and our markers. And so let's double click here to look at the first one. This one, actually, to simplify things, I can right click on this header here, and I can say we don't really care about the start time code or end time code or duration. There's no notes, so let's just keep it simple and change those. And we can close this down a little, and we can open this up so that we can just kind of see what's what here. The first note is, why is this narration in stereo? Good question. We don't need it in stereo. Dialogue is always in a mono track. Right click here, and we can say change track type to mono. Now there's 2 channels on this audio clip, and it automatically gave us the first channel. Let's look at the second marker. Is the last word clipped?
shoot the real world.
Yes, it is. I'm going to use our range selection marker here because it helps me just kind of choose a little area. And the reason I do that is so now when I want to loop this, I already have a little selection area. And to loop it, I'm going to do option /
The real world. The real world.
Let's solo it, play this on loop. Hopefully I can drag it out and hear it.
The real world and how they are. The real world.
If I want to remove that selection, I can do option X. We can look at our next marker, which is copy drum hit to end as well. We have this drum hit. We want to copy this drum hit to the end, jog it a little bit to right when our playhead hits that waveform there. Just 1 frame at a time. And now with this selected, I can do Command C for copy, and with the playhead, it will stay attached, and I can bring it all the way to the end. And I'm looking at my playhead down here on the scroller, and I'm just gonna choose my left arrow. Now I'll do Command V, and my playhead is now free. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is go to our sound preferences on the computer. Make sure that I have the input set up to my microphone so I can see that this mic is registering. Just go to our project settings and go to where it says capture and playback. Capture, video and audio, save clips to, and I already have a location set up. It's to my hard drive. You want to record to a really fast external hard drive if you can. That'll make for the best recording and no lag. Normally if you were to change it, you'd hit save, but since that's already set up, I'll just hit cancel, right click my track header, and I will do, this time, instead of add track, add tracks for more options. One track, below sync, it is going to be a mono track because we're recording dialogue. Audio number 2, and we are going to call this VO. I'm going to open up our mixer, and for audio track 2, input, do input, and VO is our track that we want to record to. 1 is our audio input. I would think I would see my mic name there, but we got our playhead where we want to start the VO. I'm going to hit R, and this means we've armed the track. You see now, you can see my vocal level registering. At this point, you're going to want to mute your speakers because you're going to get a bunch of feedback. When we're ready to start recording, we can hit this little record button up top. In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again. Let's play it back. And I should probably solo it. Let me turn off arm, solo, and in the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again. Whew! That's a thing of beauty. However, we are lucky enough to have the actual voiceover right here. Quick.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
We see it's a 2-channel clip. The first channel is a little lower than the second channel. Let's right click right on the clip in the bin and go to clip attributes, audio. Let's find out which is the good track and which is the not so good one. So we'll start with channel 1. In the age, nope, that's me.
In the age of airplane.
Let's do it again. Right click, clip attributes, embedded channel 2. See, that one's much fatter.
In the age of airplanes.
A little bit of a hum, but that sounds much better. And if I don't like the position, I can actually nudge it to the left and right a little bit using my comma and period. The one problem with this clip is that there's like a really low hum. So let's do this. Effects library, Fairlight effects, and we have this effect here called dehummer. I'm going to drag it right onto the clip. I have this selected so I can do my looping.
In the age of airplanes, we've become...
Let's not forget to solo it. And first off, I'm going to listen to the hum only.
In the age of airplanes.
So you can hear some of the vocals in there, but that's a lot of hum that we're trying to target. So what we're going to do is try to target this 60 hertz range because that's where the hum will live on this particular clip. If you want to use the slope a little bit to get some of those slightly more higher frequencies, you can. Let's do an even smaller area.
In the age of airplanes. In the age of airplanes. In the age of airplanes.
You'll really have to do it yourself to hear the difference, and it might not hurt to jack up the amount as well.
In the age of airplanes.
You don't want to do this stuff too much because it can overprocess the audio, and when you're happy with it, you can close this little dialog box. Not only can we add effects right to a clip, we can also add them to an entire track. On our sync track, we are going to take our denoiser and try to take out the noise on this vocal recording. Noise reduction. Click and drag it right to the header, and let's hear some of the noise. So that stuff is what we're trying to get rid of. In the audio bin, room tone, there it is. And I already have a piece selected. I have about 10 seconds. And this room tone is important because sound editors use it to fill in the gaps between dialogue. I'll select this and get ready to learn this room tone. Soloed, I'm gonna hit learn, spacebar to play forward. And so it's actually listening to all that sound in the room tone that is just noise. And I'll turn learn off. So now what it did was it heard all that junk so that it can be removed. So let's hear it.
Phil making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world. Phil making a documentary about...
That's with. Let's hear it without.
Phil making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world. Phil making a documentary
with.
About how the airplanes changed the world. Phil making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world.
I think that did a pretty decent job. When you try it, you certainly should be able to hear it. And if for some reason you accidentally close this box, the way to get back to it is to go to Mixer and just go to Noise Reduction, and that'll pop back up for you. All right, let's do our mixing. Remember, these are the targets that we're working with. And I'll just turn off my scroller now. Drag this out. Let's go track by track and just see what we're dealing with.
In this film, making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world, it was really important to go out and shoot the real world.
Okay, so the sync track is not so bad. I brought it up a little.
If it was possible to shoot it, we wanted to go shoot it. If we couldn't get the shot or the weather wasn't right, we would either go back to that location or it didn't make the movie.
Some of those peaks are hitting up here in the red zone, but that's okay. They're just for a real short amount of time.
It's really important. Every shot was original and that everything was real.
In the age...
Oh, I still have that room tone there from a while back. I can delete that now. So sync sounds pretty good. Let's listen to this VO here.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
Maybe it's tapping up into the red a little bit.
It's really important. Every shot was original and that everything was real.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
That's a little better. Let's move on to our sound effects. Listen to these.
If it was possible to shoot it, we wanted to go shoot it. If we couldn't get the shot or the weather wasn't right, we would either go back to that location or it didn't make the movie. It was really important. Every shot was original and that everything was real.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
I'll tell you what though, if you wanted to bring them up a little, you could just kind of come in here. Give them a little extra heat. Let's try it again, see what we got.
If it was possible to shoot it, we wanted to go shoot it. If we couldn't get the shot or the weather wasn't right, we would either go back to that location or it didn't make the movie.
Maybe these drum hits are a little weak. Beefier?
The real world.
And it's hitting at -15. That might be a little hot for some. I'll bring it down. But I don't care. I'm going to leave it because I like it. Let's hear this one.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers.
I feel like this could be a little hotter. Yeah, so I'm beefing it up a lot there, but I'm not too worried because I feel like it really needs to hit because that's how you sell something. Trailers always have these big timpanis. let's hear this thing all together. And I'll pop this out so you can see it a little larger.
In this film, making a documentary about how the airplanes changed the world, it was really important to go out and shoot the real world. If it was possible to shoot it, we wanted to go shoot it. If we couldn't get the shot or the weather wasn't right, we would either go back to that location or it didn't make the movie. It was really important. Every shot was original and that everything was real.
In the age of airplanes, we've become explorers once again.
Okay, that's the mix. And you may notice that some of these sounds are a little clunky on the way out. So yeah, maybe I'll throw a little fade out on a couple of these sound effects things. Just a little something, something. Maybe even a tiny fade in too, so they're not too abrupt. I think this one's good.
It didn't make the movie.
Okay, that's it. If you want to take a look at page 251 in lesson 9 in the book, if you can answer these questions, then you know what you're doing. All right, thanks, y'all.